If you're out there and you've used a cell phone, a computer, anything digital, and you think, well, our conversations are, kind of private. Well, someone actually leaked the story of the NSA that's been introducing themselves, to everything you know. Now, I've been seeing a lot of different things out there today that people on Facebook are saying things like, I lost my hard drive and the NSA won't give me a backup, which really sucks. Because I could have used it a number of years ago, man. At least 4 times. There's been a lot of controversy on this. The problem here is the whole story is not being told. Everybody's blaming Obama for this. Now, he does take a lot of responsibility on this, since what's going on with this is some of this has happened under his watch. A lot of this started back in the Bush era, back in 2006. With the program, it was replaced later on, but it was software that was put out by the FBI originally. It was called Carnivore back in 2005. They were searching your data streams and your IP addresses for anything that you would say online or whatever, and this goes even farther back. Now, the story about the NSA, though, getting into the traffic of AT&T and whatnot, that goes back all the way to 2006 when, guess who? George Bush was in office. Now, the Patriot Act is what opened the floodgates to these doors to all this shit. What's important here is that it's not just one president that's involved in all this. It's actually 2 presidents. To blame everything on one or the other, it's not right. They're both culpable for this. President Obama, I like him. I like the guy. But in this, he's not being very apologetic. And personally, I think he's taken the wrong career path on this. I mean, presidents have been brought down over things that have been less stupid than this. Personally, I hope it doesn't, but this isn't right. Now, what's worse, if you watch the GOP, they're saying this is the worst thing since mustard hit your best tie. Several years ago, when the GOP were fighting the Democrats on this, they were for the NSA. They were saying, hey, the NSA is great. We need to put more of this into action. You damn Democrats, you're just saying negative shit about this, and you're not a real American. And now, several years later, Obama's in charge. Oh, Obama's trying to take away your freedoms and all this other jazz. And I was like, whichever way the wind blows. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, I've always assumed that they were doing this all along. I mean, you hear stories that the NSA can tap any phone in the world, so I've always wondered what's stopping them from doing it here.
Right.
This is what so many privacy activists spoke out against over 10 years ago when the USA Patriot Act was getting voted on. I mean, this is the bill that Michael Moore read through a megaphone riding around Washington in an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
And now, years later, some people that thumped their chest and said, you're with us or you're with the terrorists, are crying foul, and as you mentioned, blaming the whole thing on Obama. But now, Obama has dirty hands on this.
Yes, he does.
Because he expanded it under his watch. But it shouldn't have passed to begin with.
Right.
Now, I saw something the other day on a funny note regarding this. Funny or Die made a parody PSA for this.
Okay.
And they said the best way we could fight this is if everybody talked like a terrorist while they're on the phone. Instead of saying like, all right, I'll see you later, I love you, say, all right, I'll see you later, I'm going to blow up the Brooklyn Bridge with a truck bomb. Bye. It's a really funny video. You should go look for it.
I've seen other things like this. I wish I could remember the website off the top of my head, but there's I think it's called Screw the NSA or something like that. I'll have to look it up. But if I find it out, there'll be a link at Packard Pokes At WordPress.com.
George Takei on Facebook posted something really funny where it said it was like a screenshot of Facebook. Like you post to my friends, post to only me. Well, it said post to everybody, post to my friends and the CIA, post to only me and the CIA.
Nice. Anyway, the site, what they were doing is you send out this email because the NSA is watching emails. So it would basically flood emails with words that the NSA would be picking up, like wedding, bomb, things like that. And it would just send out
mass email them?
Yes, mass email. So it would just overload their servers. So
at this point, don't be afraid of getting red flagged because everybody's talking about it.
Everybody's talking about it. There's no escaping it. No escaping it. Dave, your thoughts?
Oh, well, I don't think we're quite living in a Orwellian society yet. I think that this is overstepping. Well, I mean, it's certainly paving the way for things that could be really bad.
Yes.
Ultimately, Obama expanded what Bush had done.
Yes, he has.
I don't think he's really done that for any other reason than at this point he can.
Yeah, well, yeah, they actually gave the presidential powers to him when actually this goes back to Bush when the terrorists had attacked originally. They wanted to expand the president's powers so they could do this without being sidestepped by the Senate and the rest of the government.
Yeah, it was total shock and awe legislation in the first place.
Absolutely.
It was pushed through during a tragedy and shouldn't have been put in place. Now it is being expanded. It's being used more often. There's also obviously more technology that
absolutely
is available to our government right now. I think that part of this is also, this guy, what was his name that leaked the documents?
That would be Edward Snowden.
Snowden.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I just want to say this here real quick. He said he left went over to Hong Kong. He said where he was holed up. He told the paper, "I don't want to live in a society that does these sort of things. I do not want to live in a world where everything I do and say is recorded." While he was eating a ham sandwich, walking back and forth, and I told him he should put mustard on that ham sandwich. It would have tasted much better because we could obviously see what he was doing. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
This man has a secret security clearance, a top secret security clearance through the government, and we really, at this point in the U.S., we have 4.2 million people. Mm-hmm. The most recent number I could find was from 2011, but that's quite a few people who have top secret clearances that they have to get for different jobs, and I think that it's going to be tough for people to be able to secure those in the future if there's such a worry of people leaking documents as we have with WikiLeaks and all of that sort of stuff as well. There's kind of the other side to this.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is. If there's a human being involved, there's going to be a leak. Actually, like I said, this goes back to the Bush era. And now there was also another gentleman who was involved in this. The disclosure of the room of the Brigham Falls assertions made earlier. Well, this is from an article back from 2006. Said earlier this year by a former AT&T worker in California, Mark Klein, who revealed that the company had installed a secret room in the San Francisco facility and reconfigured its circuits allegedly to help collect data for the use of the government. So this has been going on for a long time, people. So don't.
Oh, absolutely.
Some people have this thing in their head that it's just Obama that's doing this. I mean, and that's the way the GOP is pushing it. It's just Obama, and that's not what it is. It's a president previous to him. And yes, his hands are dirty on this. No doubt about it. Bionic Dance, your thoughts?
Well, there really isn't much I can add to what's already been said, except for two things. I mean, first of all, how can this possibly be considered constitutional? It can't.
You're right.
I mean, this clearly violates the Constitution. That's
Fourth
the
Amendment.
first thing.
Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, exactly. But the second thing is that really the NSA can't possibly be involved, can't possibly be responsible. I mean, the NSA, there's no such agency.
No, it doesn't exist, like Area 51.
Sorry, I love that joke. I can't help myself. But no, seriously, this is a horrible, horrible act.
Yes, it is.
And it should not be allowed. It really shouldn't.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. You're exactly right. It goes against the Fourth Amendment. Why it's still going on?
Well, but at the same time, we are kind of moving towards a society where every fact is known about us. Yes. Almost. I mean, I've been looking at this Google Glass product that's coming out, and it seems like if facial recognition software comes out for us, you could know anything about anybody at a glance.
Yep, we talked about that on the show a couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't like that much either. But with the government spying in on you, if they're able to listen in on your phone calls, I mean, I don't even know how they store all that much data, but if they're listening in on everything you say and scanning for keywords and stuff, I mean, it's possible they could make some mistake. If you say something like, I was all fired up to see this movie, but then it bombed, and the next thing you know, you're under surveillance. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's possible.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And the thing is, though, part of this doesn't surprise me because the fact is that, and you kind of hit on it right there, that as a society right now, we're giving out a lot of our information. Facebook, for example, they are they're neck deep into it right now. There's a lot of companies that are involved. Google is, Facebook. Now, surprisingly enough, Twitter is not. But most people nowadays, for the price of a hamburger, will give you all their personal information. So I don't understand why the NSA has to worry about collecting any of this data for any reason, actually, because people are putting everything that they all about themselves on Facebook or other social media. So to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's actually not that difficult to make it, harder for people to find your personal info. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a landline phone, if all you have is a cell phone, it's actually very difficult to find your address.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have to... That is if you don't have your GPS turned on. And AT&T, as I recall, and any place else that has access to like an iPhone or whatever, they can reach into your phone and they could surreptitiously turn your GPS on without you even knowing about it in many cases. I'm not sure if it's the iPhone that can do this. I might be overstepping my my knowledge on that. But I know a lot of cell phones, they can turn the GPS on and then they could pinpoint right exactly where you are.
Well, I mean, as a, mildly, I guess, prominent YouTuber, at least in the atheist scene, I've certainly had people try to drop my docs, and they've only been able to find an address I had from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So...
it's
and
hard.
that's largely because of the fact that I've only had a cell phone.
Right. Yeah. That's and especially if you have like a burner phone, and those are the best kind to have. If you are trying to maintain as low key as possible in this digital age we live in, a burner phone would be your best bet. But otherwise, most people who are have their asses tied to a computer like mine, it's not. If someone was really desperately looking for me, I'm sure they could find me. Joe.
I've been posting your address to Muslim sites all over the Middle East. So.
Well, I also saw the flowers you left with. It said signed Joe. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.